Hey guys, this is Creepy Watching Part 1, and we hope you enjoy this. So, close your doors, turn off your lights. It's gonna be a wild ride. Max and Ruby 000.
Ed? Looks like you're running out of juice.
Gotta finish this column.
Oh, you're not plugged in there. Good luck with that.
Read it.
I love you, Max and Ruby.
It was just this Christmas went by, and things were getting busy. I had to start buying presents for the family. I had finished shopping, but I still needed to grab a present for my little cousin. She is not very hard to shop for since she's 4. She likes things like Peppa Pig and My Little Pony. She really liked, and I say liked for a reason, Max and Ruby. So, when I decided to go look for a present, I figured something like Max and Ruby DVD would have been perfect, since she liked to watch it on a daily basis.
I liked that when I
However,
was a
Christmas
kid.
meant that most of the online DVDs were sold out in most places by now. I went to look on eBay as well.
Oh
but
no!
I figured I could not trust what condition the DVDs would have been in. So I was stuck in a rut for a while until the package arrived. I was at home still scrolling for a stupid DVD until I heard the sound of something being pushed into my letterbox. I caught a hold of it before my dog did and looked at the package. It seemed to be wrapped very badly, with what looks like grease marks and stains on it. Naturally, like anyone would, I decided to open the package. Inside was something that I could not explain. It was a Max and Ruby DVD, but I had not seen one like it online. It was like some kid had drawn on the front cover with marker. The title was just Max and Ruby, with what looked like a poorly drawn illustration of Max and Ruby on the front. There were no names or anything, but on the back it had a list of 4 episodes, all with blunt titles. Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3, Episode 4.
I saw
I
that.
gave the DVD a watch over, and to my surprise, the episodes were perfect quality and seemed to have no flaws. It was as if it was a real DVD, just with a homemade cover. The only thing I thought was odd was the episode selection screen. The episodes had names, but they were all called
Okay, I
Max and
won't
Ruby
watch
1,
all of it. I only
with the
will
number
watch
being
it
changed as it went down the
354
list.
since
The
there's
actual
more
selection screen was just plain white
censored
with black
things,
text
so yeah.
with the episode list and nothing else. After giving it much thought, I decided to change the cover to something a little nicer by printing out a DVD cover that I had found on Google and tracked down the names of the episodes so they were labeled right. I left the episode list screen alone because I figured it was self-explanatory.
Okay, that's where the most censor thing that happened, so I want to show you guys. I'm sorry. Well, I know Plush Guys Inc. watched it in one of these episodes, but there's some. That's another version of. Yeah. So this is fan fiction, I think, since there's no real Five
Metro PCS introduces the best 4G LTE
God damn
offer
it.
ever. Unlimited 4G LTE.
We're gonna watch that later. Me and Bruce watched Amazing World of Gumball, like the real footage. It scared us since we didn't. It was creepy. Yeah, it's fan fiction.
I shouldn't have switched the night shift. but I was sick of doing nothing. I felt I had to at least try something. The job was to work at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. You had to keep an eye on the animatronic figures, which in this place wandered the halls. It's a bit strange, but there's a good reason. I'll get to that in a bit. The job in a nutshell is just sit there and don't screw up. But it's not as easy as that. You see, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is known for its animatronics. They dance on stage, get the kids all excited. It's a very popular place, especially for birthday parties. But for the night security, this isn't about watching out for people breaking in. In fact, if someone did break in, it would probably work out in your favor for that night. The job is to keep an eye on the robots, watch them roam the halls, and survive. During my time here, I very quickly learned my first lesson. Don't let the animatronics get bored. You from the start. It's all a game to them. It always has been. They'll eventually start making things harder and harder. One will distract you while the other tries to sneak in. They'll mix up what rooms they go in. They'll sometimes mess with the tech. They're smart. And don't get me started on Foxy. The point is, I don't know how long I can last here. So I need to act quick. Luckily in this time, I've had time to think. And I've got a plan. I've put out a job ad in the paper for someone to make an easy $120 in 5 days. It's not much, but it's all I can afford to skim off my own wage whilst leaving myself enough to live off.
All copyright stuff goes to the creators.
Hey there, boys and girls. It's Fred, owner of Fredbear's Family Diner and creator of Freddy Fazbear.
It takes me
I'm
somewhere
trying to
else
thank all
since
of you for coming out and enjoying some pizza with me and my friends. So, without further ado, I'd love to introduce to you my best animatronic friend, Freddy Fazbear.
Hey everyone, it's your old friend Freddy Fazbear, and thanks for coming out to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. And don't forget about me, your best buddy Bonnie. I've got my guitar tuned and I'm ready to play, Freddy. That sounds great, Bonnie.
Don't forget me, guys. I'm Chica. Let's eat. There's some pretty amazing pizza here, guys.
We can't eat pizza all the time, Chica. Right. We have.
It's just them talking.
No, I'm not. Well, we're still waiting on your dad to get off work. When he is, then we're all going home together. Did you want more pizza? Or get some ice cream from the buffet? I'm gonna go find the other kids and play with them. Jonathan! Fine. But be safe.
This is so stupid. The animatronics don't even seem real anymore. They're so old looking.
Hey there, buddy. Why the wrong face?
Buzz off, Freddy. Or, oh, you're the yellow one.
You got it, buddy. Golden like the stars.
Well, Golden Freddy, leave me alone. I'm too old for this kind of stuff anyway.
Aw, don't be like.
What just happened? Are you kidding me? I gotta go back, guys. It's
Right. We have a job to do.
God damn it! Can't find.
You're still little, Jonathan.
No, I'm not.
Well, we're still waiting on your dad.
God damn it!
Fine. But be safe.
This is so stupid. The animatronics don't even seem real anymore. They're so old looking.
Hey there, buddy. Why the wrong on the face.
Buzz off, Freddy. Or, oh, you're the yellow one, huh?
Uh-huh. You got it, buddy. Golden like the stars.
Now go, Freddy. Leave me alone. Too old for this kind of stuff anyway.
Aw, don't be like that, buddy. Uh-huh. There's plenty to do with Freddy Fazbear's. You want to play some of the video games?
No, that's stupid. The claw machine here is rigged.
Uh-huh. No, silly. The arcade game's in the back of the diner.
Arcade?
You
There's no need to have an arcade here.
It's only for the special guests.
I'm a special guest.
More than you know.
Show me.
Right this way, buddy.
I think that's a.
Is it on the other side of the kitchen? I've never seen the inside of the kitchen before.
I knew it. It's a theater act. Rubber man.
Hello? Hello? Where am I? Mom? Why can't I move?
Puppets don't move on their own. See, you're an adorable little puppet. Fish hooks in your hands, fish hooks in your feet, and you can dance wonderfully.
Why? Why? Help me, please.
Shut up, shut up.
My mom's out there.
So help me, you'll be like the
Peter,
others.
are you in there?
Shut up.
Peter, where are you? We're not closed yet. You have to be out on the floor with the employees.
I will, Fred. I'm taking care of some of the financial paperwork.
What paperwork? You just have to handle the drops. I handle the papers. Open the damn door, Peter.
Help me. Help me. Please. Please help.
For God's sake, Peter.
It's the last one, Fred. I can handle this. I just wanted one more before we moved.
No. We're supposed to be growing. Do you understand? We're franchising this place in a few weeks. You can't do this. You can't keep putting me in this position, Peter.
I know. This isn't
going to keep happening.
I can handle it from here.
You better. I'm going to be in a corporate office, and these places are relying on you.
Please.
Good. I'm sorry. Victor, it's Fred. Fredbear's Family Diner's closed. Do you understand? We need those new animatronics now. We're opening the new store in just a few days, okay? I don't care what you have to do. You make them work. You take the pieces out of the old one if you have to. You make the new ones work, okay? This is not going to fail me.
What the fuck?
Music box stopped. Save them. It's party time, and I want to have the wildest pizza party.
It's your best buddy. Not again. It's your best buddy. It's always a fun time at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
No. The last one is freak. No. Okay, at least we're not gonna watch that. That's fan. Sorry if you have to do this again. Ah!
Hey there, boys and girls. It's Fred, owner of Fredbear's Family Diner and creator of Freddy Fazbear. I just wanted to thank all of you for coming.
Thank you. No.
Hello. Hi.
Damn it.
What's wrong?
I can't. I keep clicking the wrong one.
Damn.
Finally, it's the amazing world of Gumball.
Today's newest flavor
The
is back,
breathing.
and we're looking for the tastiest flavors in
Again.
America.
Ah, what the?
Fried onion pierogies. Turn your favorite flavors from across the country into a chip idea with a chance to win $1 million.
I always loved Cartoon Network when I was growing up. It was my favorite channel to watch. Even today, it has some good shows like Adventure Time and Regular Show. One of the newest shows on the network, The Amazing World of Gumball, is a pretty cute, mildly entertaining show. Not really my cup of tea. It's a little immature, but my little brother seems to like it a lot. And one day, I was watching Adult Swim when I realized I'd been up so late, I hadn't even kept track of time. It was already 4 a.m. I don't really recall ever watching Adult Swim this late, so I stayed awake to see what would happen when it ended. A little bumper showed up at the bottom of the screen during a commercial break. It said that a special episode of The Amazing World of Gumball was about to come on. I was a little confused about an episode of a very popular new show coming on this early, but I was bored and decided I would watch it, thinking it might come on later in the day, so I could spoil it for my brother. Sort of mean, I know. The flashy and energetic intro theme played, and although it was played a little differently than I recall, the music was a little different, and the show's logo wasn't animated. Its colors were done rather sloppily as well, almost like something a little kid would do on a doodle board or a glow board. I ignored it, assuming that it was done just for this special episode. The title of the episode was The Grieving. Sort of sad title, but I didn't really pay too much attention. It began with Gumball, the show's 12-year-old protagonist, standing alone facing a corner of his dimly lit classroom. He looked absolutely miserable, a far cry from the cheerful demeanor he usually had. There was no one else in the room, not even his best friend and adopted brother Darwin the goldfish. And the windows in the room clearly showed the night sky outside. I was really starting to get confused. Why would he be at school at night? Why was he standing in the corner all sad and alone? After about what seemed like a minute of Gumball standing somberly in the corner, the scene suddenly changed. We were in Gumball's house. Once again, the scene is silent and a little disquieting. Richard, Gumball's enormous rabbit father, walks in from the kitchen, and he looked even more miserable than Gumball had in the previous scene. Richard isn't wearing his usual attire. He's dressed in a fancy black suit, a little uncharacteristic of him as he's usually a slob. He sighs and slumps down on the sofa. He starts sobbing intensely, something like someone who just lost something important. I was starting to get a little creeped out. It was the silly, fun cartoon that I usually looked forward to watching with my younger brother. This was something completely different. I was beginning to think that this might have been something the creators did as an experiment or something, a test of the animation or sound perhaps. Now, it couldn't have been aside from the opening theme, which was so different from the final shows. The episode had been much quieter than it usually was, only the subtle sounds and very little music, and the animation was not anything to write home about either. It was done a bit like an amateur Flash on Newgrounds. The character design was somewhat sloppy and rushed looking, and the real-life backgrounds used for the show looked different. As confused and somewhat frightened as I was for some reason, I kept watching it. Poor Richard was still sobbing on the sofa as the front door opened suddenly, making me jump a bit at such a loud noise, and Gumball's mother Nicole, a blue cat like him, stepped in. Like Richard, she wasn't wearing her usual outfit. For some reason, she was in a black dress and was wearing a pretty black hat to match. Nicole sat down on the couch to comfort her husband, although she was looking a bit saddened herself. By this point, Richard's crying had begun to get more pained and miserable sounding. This wasn't the normal cartoon crying on the show. This was realistic and almost depressing crying. I almost felt like sobbing myself. Finally, after what seemed like hours, the sad scene at home ended, as it shifted back to the school. We weren't in Gumball's classroom this time. We were in Principal Brown's office. Nicole and Richard were there in their usual clothes, looking more normal and happy than they had before, but still slightly worried. Principal Brown, however, looked extremely sad. They quietly and somberly informed them of their children. Aeneas and Darwin were not present after lunch earlier that day. They hadn't been seen at all the rest of the day. Nicole was suddenly furious at him. She began spouting various insults and calls at him that I don't think would have made it on a more mature program like a regular show. I was laughing at this because it seemed sort of funny for Nicole to flip out in this manner and start swearing like a sailor in a G-rated cartoon, but my outlook soon changed when Principal Brown told her something else after she finally had quieted down. His eyes began to tear up as he informed them. They eventually were found, but they had not been found alive. He then went into graphic and nearly nauseating detail describing how their bodies were found, their parents sitting in utter shock. I could hardly believe what was happening. How could such a cheery and fun kids show be taking such a dark and twisted turn? I was considering turning the television off, but I was too scared to be left in the dark by now. Nearly frozen by...
Sorry guys, it's lagging for me. No! 540 it was. You kidding me? I don't want Red Lobster. I already ate. I already ate a fucking burger.
I always loved Cartoon Network when I was growing up. It was my favorite channel to watch. Even today, it has some good shows like Adventure Time, Regular Show. One of the newest shows on the network, The Amazing World of Gumball. And disturbed intensely at the terrible things that he was saying. Another flashback. The scene was earlier that day, and the animation in the scene was even worse than earlier. They said it was very uncharacteristic of both Darwin and Aeneas to go skipping school like delinquents. Darwin was a little naive and a bit ditzy, but he was a good kid and wouldn't have even dreamed of doing something like that. And Aeneas was even less likely to run away. He was a straight-A student, despite being only 4, which also troubled the police, seeing as a defenseless 4-year-old girl was missing, as well as an older boy. The school had been thoroughly checked, so the police started to search the heavily wooded area outside of the school. It took little time for the police to discover the horrifying fate of Aeneas. In a small clearing outside of the school, her head was found in a small box. You likely would have expected something like that to be shown in a show's cutesy art style, but it was nothing like that at all. Realistic blood covered the box inside and out, while her head was done in a normal style. It was drenched in blood and some other fluids. Not all of them hers, apparently. There was a note in the box, seemingly written in her blood. It was never stated during the episode what exactly was written on the note, but apparently led to the rest of her remains and Darwin's heavily mutilated corpse. What I remember most about this scene was how out of place it seemed. All the blood and gore from Darwin and Aeneas' slaughtered and dismembered remains were done in a very realistic and disturbing way. It looked like the scene had been taken from a crime scene photograph done by professionals, not something from a cartoon. The way the scene was animated was different from most of the show as well. You may know that characters from the series are done in vastly differing animation styles, from flash animation to CGI, and I think that there's even a character done by somebody putting their chin upside down to make a face. This particular scene wasn't like anything I'd ever seen in the show before. Every little detail on Darwin's face was clearly illustrated. He looked like a little like a zombie. His face was very pale. His eyes had been gouged out by someone. Aeneas fared no better, or what was left of her anyway. Her stomach had been torn open. Her intestines were strewn around the trees and bushes in the woods, done once again in a very morbid and realistic style. I was feeling very ill by the time this incredibly disturbing flashback had come to an end, so I quickly ran to the bathroom to vomit. I was feeling better after upchucking, so I had realized I had good timing and had run to the bathroom during a commercial. It was then that I noticed that the show had been running twice as long. It usually ran for 11 minutes, but this episode was running for about 30. By then, I was wondering if there was any information on the grieving on IMDb or something, so while the commercials were still playing, I looked up some information about the episode on Google. Nothing came up. No information remotely similar to the plot or name of this episode existed anywhere. Now, incredibly scared and wondering if anyone else was watching, I quickly dialed my brother Larry and asked him to turn to Cartoon Network to see if he was seeing the same shit that I was. He was pretty mad that I woke him up at this hour. But he's a nice guy. He told me that he would see for me. I thanked him and stayed on the line as the show came back from commercial break. The scene had thankfully panned away from the horrific sights of mutilated children and was back to the principal's office. I asked Larry if he saw some cartoon animals talking or crying, since that's what they were doing on my TV, and to my surprise, he said that he saw nothing like that. Instead, it was a rerun of an old Looney Tunes short. In utter shock, I dropped the phone and ran over to the TV to turn it off. As hard as I pressed the button, it would not let me shut it off at all. I tried every single button, and none of them did a thing. I tried unplugging the whole thing as well. Nothing worked. The TV stayed on no matter what. Larry had hung up, assuming that I was playing a joke or something, I guess. I was alone once again. My door was locked from the outside somehow, and the door to my bathroom was now locked as well. It seemed that I had no choice but to call the police since my other family members were gone that night. It's the reason I could stay up so late after watching Adult Swim in the first place. When I hurriedly dialed the phone, I got no response. I was very scared. I had no choice but to finish the episode. I turned on all the lights in my room, got under the covers, hiding like my little brother does when I make him watch scary movies with me. I'd apparently missed a bit, but Gumball's parents were still talking to Principal Brown, so not that much. Nicole was asking him if Gumball was all right. He looked slightly confused and shocked for a moment and explained to her that he thought Gumball was out sick today and he had spent the day at home by himself with the stomach bug. Nicole screamed and wailed while Richard quietly told him, in a very out-of-character voice, that they thought Gumball had gotten on the bus this morning. But it didn't seem that way. The police were called once again. Searched the building and the small forest outside. They had found him in Miss Simeon's class, hanging by a noose with a blood-covered knife behind him and blood covering his clothing. The episode ended with a shot of Gumball's dead body hanging there in the corner, fading to black. Jesus! The credits rolled silently, not like the usual way Cartoon Network annoyingly airs a promo that squishes half the screen. Those credits rolled unusually slow. And they weren't that fun to watch either. A little creepy, just plain white text rolling on a black background. I only recognized the name of the creator of the show. The rest were people I'd never heard of. The copyright notice at the end said copyright Cartoon Network Studios 2001, which was incredibly odd seeing as the show was new for 2011. After all that was over, the screen went to static for a split second, during which some incredibly creepy and shocking video clips were shown between static intervals. I can still remember them very clearly. The first was a picture of a person in a plague doctor outfit. Those always scared me for some reason, and the way the person in the suit was filmed was just as bad. A red light, something that freaked me out incredibly, was shown over the clip. The next was what seemed to be a video being played very quickly over and over again, of a kitten's face being squashed by a woman wearing high heels, which was strange because a so-called friend of mine was sent a picture yesterday of a cat being killed, similar to the kittens in the video. The last one was the one that disturbed me the most. It made me want to both cry and vomit my guts out. It was my little brother, or at least a small child who looked very similar to him, being shot right in the face by a person who looked like my father. You could clearly see the child's blood splatter on the wall. I began to sob uncontrollably after that traumatizing clip. So much so that I passed out. When I woke up, my door was unlocked. My television was turned off. I went to go call the police on the home phone in my kitchen and report that I'd seen some very disturbing things on TV and that my door had been locked. When they arrived, they could find nothing like what I remembered from earlier this morning. My internet history had been cleared. They were angry at me and just assumed that I had a bad nightmare, when I was sure that I hadn't. Thankfully, one of the officers felt bad for me and took me out to a small diner so I could recollect my thoughts. At the diner, I remembered that my family was out visiting my aunt, and they were supposed to be back by noon or so. It was already 11, so the officer and I drove back, only to find a whole squad of police cars and even some government agents at my house. They explained to me that my little brother was missing, that my mother and father were major suspects. I was freaking out and trying to tell them about the disturbing clip of the boy who looked like my brother being shot in the head, but they wouldn't listen. I stayed with my older brother, Larry, who wouldn't believe me either, still insisting that all he saw was an old Looney Tunes cartoon and nothing at all creepy or weird. The cops eventually told me they would contact Turner Broadcasting and tell them about the incident. A representative of Turner Broadcasting came to my cousin's house to talk to me in private about what I had seen and experienced that night. He was very kind. But it all seemed a little like some sort of front. After I could tell him all I remembered, he agreed to play back that day's programming from when the incident with the disturbing Gumball episode had occurred. And to my shock, all that was airing at that time was an old Looney Tunes short. Nothing more, nothing less. I hysterically sobbed and moaned that what I had experienced and seen was completely real, but no one listened. Eventually, I discovered that Ben, so I sent a message to him about the episode. And this was the reply I got. One thing, how in the heck did you find this? I never, ever, ever thought I would have to think about that old shame again. Don't tell anyone this. The amazing world of Gumball goes back further than you would know. I used to have a really boring job as a teen, and I sketched little drawings of the Wattersons and friends. The episode that you saw was never supposed to be seen by anyone but me and a few friends of mine. It was a very, very awful thing to do, but we made that episode as a joke. A guy from my old job who everyone hated had lost a child to a crazed serial killer, who is apparently still out there somewhere. Anyway, we made it so that we could make fun of how he came into work, usually crying like a fool, which is why you saw Mr. and Mrs. Waterman crying so much in the episode. I know. I'm deeply sorry for what I did, which is why I tried to bury that stupid thing years ago. Literally, I went out into the countryside with my friends, dug a hole, and buried it. What I don't get, though, is how you describe the blood and guts and stuff. We didn't have any scene with Darwin or any bodies being found. All that happens in the episode is the parents are informed of the kids being found dead, and them crying like crazy. We didn't even draw anything in the episode like that, at all. We're not that sick. Now here's my theory. The lunatic who killed that man's child found the tape that we watched it, heavily edited it, and he hijacked the TV station near you, and got the episode to air on your local Cartoon Network station. Now, why your brother couldn't see it, I have no idea. Why it seems you're the only one who saw it, I have no idea either. I'm sorry. I just don't know. Now, for the explanation that you've been waiting for, the clips at the end, I don't know. I don't. I'm deeply sorry from the bottom of my heart, but I don't know why those clips were aired. I'm sorry, I really am. And me and my friends are just the only ones who made those scenes with Richard and Nicole crying. That's it. I'm so sorry. I'm so deeply sorry. Best wishes. Everyone involved with the grieving.
Bad.
Wow, boo.
Yes.
That looks creepy.
Yeah, that was creepy. That was creepy. I really pee my pants.
Well, that was super deep that I almost cried. Nah, just kidding. You thought I did. You thought I did. Oh. I hope you enjoyed this creepy reading. I was a little bit scared because I texted Bruce. You might have seen my Skype, and I texted Bruce. I was scared. But that part I was scared. I still have my hair up. And my hair is still up. But hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next creepy reading. Maybe. Because I'm scared and I got those nightmares. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.